As artists, we're often told to make our own work. But what if you don't? What if you don't know how? What if the confidence is gone, the energy is gone, the people are gone, and even the blank page or the empty studio just feels too heavy? Welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist podcast, where artists of all kinds come to fuel their passion, sharpen their skills, and thrive in their creative lives. I'm your host, Lara Bianca-Pilcher, life and creativity coach and fellow artist, here to support you on your artistic journey. Whether you're a performer, writer, visual artist, or any kind of artist, this is the space for real talk, practical advice, and inspiring stories. Subscribe and join us each week for more inspiration and actionable insights to fuel your artistry. Let's dive in and get inspired. Welcome back to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist podcast. I'm Lara Bianca-Pilcher, life and creativity coach for dancers, actors, singers, writers, visual artists, any kind of artists, and I'm an artist myself. Today, we're naming the fear that so many of us carry. What if you're not making anything right now? Maybe you're a dancer skipping class, telling yourself you're just tired, but deep down, it's fear that's holding you back. Maybe you're a writer staring at a blank notebook or laptop because you don't even trust your own words anymore. Or maybe you're a singer who finds your voice feels strange when you try because somehow anxiety's getting there in your breath and got there first. Maybe you're an actor who's practiced and prepared, but every self-tape feels like another tape, not a creative act. But maybe you're a visual artist staring at a canvas that feels as empty as you do, and that's a great metaphor for all of us. Maybe, like so many artists, you tell yourself you're just busy, life's taken over, you'll get to it later. But is that really the truth deep down? If any of this sounds familiar, this episode is for you. One of my clients was a dancer who had trained for years. She lived for movement. But when life got overwhelming, she stopped choreographing. Weeks turned into months, then suddenly years. And she started saying, oh, maybe I'm just lazy, or maybe I'm just not a real artist anymore, or maybe that's just my journey and how it was meant to be. But what if this particular client wasn't feeling laziness? It was actually grief. Grief for the rhythm she used to have, grief for the art that felt out of reach. And maybe for you, it's not dance. Maybe it's your notebook still blank, your paints untouched, your instruments silent. And the truth is, the hardest part of not creating isn't the silence. It's the fear that your creativity may never come back the way that it was. The fear that maybe what you carry isn't enough. The fear that what if I'm the person who never gets my dreams? And that can be this grief that causes a block in your creativity and your art. And that fear is heavy. And most artists carry this quietly. They don't even realize that this pain that they feel is actually grief, and they don't have a name for it. It can stop you making your own work. It can stop you for many different reasons. Let's talk about what's actually happening when you stop creating and when you feel like you don't have what it takes to create, because psychology has a term for this, the avoidance loop. When something feels threatening, even if it's your art, you can avoid it subconsciously. And the more you avoid it, the scarier it can feel to return. The more that you avoid creating your own work, the scarier it can feel to even begin. Artists fall into this loop for lots of reasons. The biggest one that I can name upfront is perfectionism. And you've probably seen me do some funny skits on my social media about this. I've turned perfectionism into a character. Don't mistake it for aiming for perfect. I think when you go to see a Broadway show, you're not going there thinking it's okay to see errors. You want to see a flawless performance. The artists want to be able to get up there and give a perfect performance, hit the perfect notes. And a lot of them will say they rarely do. There'll always be something like that line. I mean, we're ultra critical of ourselves. But aiming for perfect, that's not wrong. That's part of being an excellent artist. What I'm talking about is perfectionism. This is a block within itself. And you tell yourself, if it's not great, it's not worth doing at all. Perfectionism says it's never going to be good enough. It constantly criticizes, and you can't just sit in that place of, wow, I did good. It's a tricky thing, a tricky balance here, because excellence matters. Perfectionism can be a block. Another reason that we get in this loop is burnout. You've given so much to your craft, and now even thinking about it feels exhausting. And I did an episode on that. Go back one episode if you're struggling with that one. Comparison, I call it comparison-itis, is another reason we get in this loop. You scroll on social media. This is the place that it comes up these days the most, or maybe in class looking in the mirror or whatever, and you see that everyone else is producing while you're not. And another one is just identity crisis. You wonder, am I still an artist if I'm not making my own work, or if I'm not booking, or if I'm not making it, or if I'm not getting a deal, and I'm just silently creating on my own? And, am I still even an artist? Can I call myself that? So here's my coaching lens. Creative block isn't a verdict. It's actually a signal. It can be a signal that your nervous system is overworked. A signal that your identity and self-worth might be tangled up in output. That's massive, guys, for so many artists, that your identity and your self-worth can be tangled in the output. A signal that what you need right now is gentleness and not judgment, to be kind to yourself, to watch yourself talk and make sure you're talking to yourself nicely. I've had to do that this week. I had a massive rejection. It was a rejection that actually came after like 3 rounds. So these ones I call the hardest rejections, because the closer you get to it, you sit on this give it everything but don't want it at all sort of tightrope, because you want it desperately, but you also want to guard your heart. And I got so close. I got through round 1, round 2, round 3, and then I got that rejection. And it cut, because the more close I got to it, I realized they were critiquing my materials, my self-tape, my audition, my application, my kit in this situation, because I wear a lot of artistic hats. I'm not talking about my author hat, I'm talking about my acting hat. And it hurt. If I'm honest, it really hurt. And you instantly go into that place of spiral. And even though I'm a coach and I've done this a long time, I can find myself going, oh, what if I really suck? What if I'm not good enough? And that's when you have to catch that self-talk and go, wait a minute, you showed up, you were brave, you got through 3 rounds. That means something. It's fiercely competitive. It's saturated. So what I'm doing is I'm taking myself out of this spiral and into this place of kindness and kind self-talk to myself. Gentleness, not judgment. Saying, hey, you showed up. Hey, other people weren't brave enough to chase this dream. You are. Hey, this market is saturated and you're accepted and you're lovable and you are enough. And then I go, I'm going to feel this pain and give myself 24 hours, and then I am going to keep going. And the next day I was on set doing something else, and I want to be completely honest, the first time in 3 years that I had booked something at that level, and I'm on set the very next day after that rejection. And it was just wonderful because I'd had visa delays. I'd had the strike and then the slow recovery. And I was so grateful to just be on set and to be a creative. It made me grateful that I got to do something creative and collaborative. It's a gift, my friends, every time we get to do that. But it doesn't come without a price. And when we say you got to have a thick skin, I think it's deeper. I think you need to talk kindly to yourself. So how do you move from that stuck place of I can't create my own work, or I suck at this, or whatever it is that you're saying around putting yourself out there? Here's a framework that I like to use with my clients. Number 1, shift from output to process. Let me break it down. Instead of I need to write a play, that's a big goal. Ask, what if I just write one messy line? Or what if I just put on music and move for 5 minutes and then just record it and sort of go, oh, wow, I really like that phrase, and give yourself that data when it comes to your creativity. Because we are told if you're not booking or you're not in the middle of something, create your own work, because that's what we need to do as artists to continue to practice what we do. There's these things, lower the bar until it does feel possible for you. Number 2, reframe resistance as data. So when you're stuck, don't panic. Get curious. Ask yourself, what's making me hesitate? Sometimes it's fear, sometimes exhaustion, sometimes perfectionism. Naming it gives you your power back. Number 3 is to start with micro actions, tiny acts that rebuild trust. One brushstroke. I kid you not, I am not joking. One brushstroke, one written sentence, one note on the piano or your instrument is sung. Like strength training, you don't walk into the gym after a long break and deadlift 300 pounds. You start small. You build yourself up there. When it comes to making your own work, when I produced a musical in London for a professional studio and showed up at that level, it did not start there. It started years before with putting a choreography together for one thing. It started with putting a group together and taking it on a tour to China at that time. It started with saying, oh my goodness, I don't know how to do this, and doing it in a team and working it out until eventually I had the confidence to work at that level. That's how you start, though. You start much smaller. It actually started with me creating my own choreography. If you're walking around carrying this weight, I want to offer you 2 resources. 1, grab my free guide, Stuck in a Creative Rut. It's free and full of 3 powerful steps to recharge your creative spark. That's your creative energy. Or if you're ready for more structure, check out my 7-day mini course, Reignite Your Creativity in 7 days. It's only $37 right now, and it'll help you gently reset after a season of silence, or maybe you've never felt confident to create your own work. Both the links are in the show notes on whatever platform you're listening on, or you can just go to laurabiancapilcher.com, freebies or courses. Now, let me give you a reality check and some hope. You don't need to go back to who you were when you were producing constantly, if that's you. That version of you wasn't better, it's just different. Artistry has seasons. Think of winter, barren trees, cold ground. Does that mean the tree is dead? No, it's storing energy, gathering strength, preparing for spring. Your art is like that. If you're in a quiet season, it doesn't mean your creativity has disappeared. It means something in you is resting, waiting for the right conditions. It will feel uncomfortable, but discomfort isn't failure. It's proof that you're alive, actually, and growing and a human and vulnerable and all the beautiful things that make us human. Growing, shifting. And here's the encouragement. You don't need to feel ready because rarely do you feel ready. I'm telling you that. You just need to begin. When I get a new script and I have to sit in front of a camera, I rarely feel ready. I just begin. And I begin and I get going, because in doing so, momentum builds, refinement builds. That is the creative process. One step today is worth more than waiting for perfect. So as you know, I like to give you a creative spark in each episode, a little challenge. This week, do one creative act that takes 10 minutes or less. Write a single page, dance to one song, sing one chorus, sketch one doodle, then stop, let it be enough. Put on a timer and just say, I'm going to create for this 10 minutes, whatever your creative outlet is, and just see what happens without judgment, without perfectionism. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist. If you're not making anything right now, remember you're still an artist. Your identity doesn't vanish just because your output has paused. And in this episode, we named the pain, unpacked the psychology, and found some simple steps back into action. Don't forget to grab my free guide, Stuck in a Creative Rut. The link's in the show notes. And if you want a deeper reset, you can get that Reignite Your Creativities in 7 Days course. It's always there waiting for you at larabiancapilcher.com/courses. And you can also book one-on-one coaching with me at coaching at the same site. Next week, we're going to talk about creativity versus survival mode, reconnecting when life's been too much. If life has felt overwhelming lately and you've been stuck in survival mode, your nervous system's on overload, this episode will help you to find gentle ways back to your art. Until then, keep showing up for yourself, because when you do that, you're showing up for your art and yourself. They're closely linked. And remember, your creativity is still alive, even in the silence. That winter metaphor that I told you about the trees. P.S. If you're still listening, jump on the platform you're on, hit the 5 stars, write a comment if you want to. I do read them, and that would help me to get this out to more artists, helping more people just like you. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an inspiring conversation or actionable insight. You can read the show notes and learn more at larabiancapilcher.com. And be sure to share this episode with fellow artists who could use a little extra inspiration. Until next time, keep creating, stay audacious, and remember, your artistry matters.